A massive drug bust at the port of Houston. Officials say they stopped more than 1,000 barrels of chemicals from China headed to a cartel in Mexico.
That's enough to make nearly $500 million worth of meth, a very large drug bust.
Picture this. A cargo ship quietly docks in Houston, carrying enough chemical precursors to manufacture 15 million doses of methamphetamine. The Sinaloa Cartel didn't just want to smuggle drugs. They wanted to build industrial-scale meth factories on American soil using Chinese chemical suppliers. ICE and CBP agents just exposed a transnational conspiracy where China provides the ingredients, Mexico provides the distribution network, and American ports become the entry point for chemical warfare against our communities. Before we continue, your single subscribe click powers the investigation behind this and every future video. Let's break down the chemical weapons pipeline that ICE and CBP just dismantled in Houston. On June 2, 2025, Houston Port became the front line in America's defense against a new form of chemical infiltration. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, working in seamless coordination with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, intercepted what initially appeared to be a routine chemical shipment from China. But as federal agents began their inspection, the true nature of this cargo revealed something far more sinister. The Sinaloa Cartel, the world's most powerful drug trafficking organization, had established a direct supply pipeline with Chinese chemical manufacturers. This wasn't small-time smuggling. This was industrial manufacturing at a scale never before seen on American soil. Federal agents just exposed a conspiracy that reaches from China's chemical plants to Mexico's cartel strongholds, with Houston Port serving as the critical transfer point. The seizure, 50,000 kilograms of dicumyl peroxide. That's enough raw material to manufacture 15 million meth doses that would have flooded American communities from Texas to California. This operation reveals how cartels have evolved from drug smugglers to chemical weapons importers. They're no longer satisfied with moving finished products across the border. They've graduated to importing industrial capacity, transforming American territory into their manufacturing base. The seizure numbers are staggering. 50,000 kilograms of dicumyl peroxide, that's 110,000 pounds of pure meth-making chemicals. To put that in perspective, this single shipment contained enough precursors to manufacture over 15 million doses of methamphetamine. That's enough chemical weapons to supply every meth user in America for months. Let's break down exactly what federal agents discovered in those shipping containers. Dicumyl peroxide, a chemical precursor that transforms ordinary ingredients into crystal meth through a series of industrial processes. Each kilogram of this precursor can produce approximately 300 individual meth doses when processed in cartel laboratories. The geographic impact of this single shipment would have been catastrophic. This volume of chemical weapons could have flooded Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Arkansas simultaneously, while still maintaining enough production capacity to expand throughout the Southwest. We're talking about 15 million doses. That represents 15 million potential overdoses waiting to happen in American communities. This wasn't just a drug bust. This was the prevention of chemical warfare against American citizens. To understand the full scope of this conspiracy, we need to examine it like the corporate operation it truly is. This wasn't random smuggling. This was a sophisticated manufacturing pipeline with multiple international touchpoints. The supply origin begins in Chinese chemical manufacturing facilities. These operations produce what appear to be legitimate industrial chemicals used in plastics manufacturing and other commercial applications. But the reality is far darker. These facilities are knowing participants in a transnational chemical weapons conspiracy. The export network utilizes maritime shipping routes from Chinese ports across the Pacific, identifying Houston as the optimal entry point into American territory. Why Houston? Its massive volume of legitimate chemical imports provides the perfect cover for precursor shipments with over 8,000 containers processed daily. The port infiltration strategy reveals cartel sophistication. They've identified specific shipping lanes, customs procedures, and container inspection patterns, allowing them to calculate precisely how and when to move chemical weapons shipments through American ports with minimal detection risk. And then there's the distribution infrastructure, a network of planned cartel laboratory locations strategically positioned across the Southwest, ready to transform these chemical precursors into finished meth products for American consumption. This conspiracy reveals a new level of cartel sophistication. They're not just trafficking finished drugs, they're importing the industrial capacity to manufacture addiction on American soil. Chinese suppliers provide the chemistry, Mexican cartels provide the distribution network, and American ports become their chemical weapons depot. The China connection extends far beyond this single shipment. Intelligence reports indicate that Chinese chemical manufacturers have established dedicated production lines specifically for cartel customers, exploiting legitimate chemical trade channels to move precursors internationally. These companies utilize sophisticated container camouflage techniques, hiding precursor chemicals behind layers of legitimate products, with falsified shipping manifests and product descriptions designed to evade standard customs scrutiny. The financial networks linking these operations reveal millions in international wire transfers, cryptocurrency payments, and shell company structures designed to obscure the true nature of these transactions. This isn't random smuggling. This is corporate-level chemical weapons trafficking. The Sinaloa Cartel's strategy represents an evolution in their business model. By shifting from finished drug imports to precursor chemicals, they gain multiple advantages: reduced border detection risk, lower transportation costs, and vastly increased production capacity. Intelligence indicates planned laboratory locations throughout Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, with manufacturing capacity that could produce tons of methamphetamine monthly. What makes this conspiracy particularly dangerous is that American distribution networks were already in place, with established transportation routes, storage facilities, and retail operations ready to move this unprecedented volume of methamphetamine into communities nationwide. The federal response to this threat was Operation Chemical Shield, a coordinated effort between ICE and CBP that demonstrates the power of multi-agency collaboration. Advanced chemical scanning technology deployed at Houston Port identified suspicious molecular signatures within the shipping containers, triggering a full hazardous materials response. Specialized hazmat teams secured all 50,000 kilograms of chemical weapons, establishing containment protocols to prevent environmental contamination during the seizure process. Federal prosecutors are now building cases against both the international suppliers and domestic conspiracy participants, with charges that could include chemical weapons trafficking, drug manufacturing conspiracy, and international money laundering. The multi-agency coordination behind this operation reveals federal law enforcement at its most effective. ICE Homeland Security investigations provided critical intelligence gathering on cartel operations, while CBP deployed state-of-the-art chemical detection capabilities at the port. DEA laboratory specialists conducted immediate threat assessment and chemical analysis, confirming the manufacturing potential of the seized precursors. International cooperation with Chinese authorities has now initiated a parallel investigation into the chemical manufacturers responsible for supplying these precursors, demonstrating America's commitment to addressing this threat at its source. This seizure represents the largest chemical precursor bust in U.S. history. Federal agents didn't just stop drugs, they prevented chemical warfare against American communities. The scale of this interdiction cannot be overstated. It represents a significant blow to the Sinaloa Cartel's manufacturing capabilities and sends a powerful message to international chemical suppliers considering similar conspiracies. But let's be clear, this seizure exposes a much larger conspiracy. While 50,000 kilograms sit in federal evidence lockup, how many other chemical shipments have already reached cartel laboratories? This isn't just about stopping one shipment, It's about exposing an entire industrial network designed to manufacture addiction in America. The evolution warning is unmistakable. Cartels are no longer just drug dealers. They're chemical weapons manufacturers with industrial capacity and international supply chains. Houston may be safer today, but other ports remain vulnerable to chemical infiltration. With this level of precursor availability, imagine the manufacturing capacity already operational within American borders. The international implications extend beyond this single operation. China-Mexico cartel alliances are expanding globally, with American ports serving as primary chemical weapons entry points. Maritime shipping has emerged as the preferred delivery method for chemical precursors, leveraging the sheer volume of legitimate commerce to conceal illicit chemical weapons movements. This operation was a victory for American security. 50,000 kilograms of chemical weapons intercepted. 15 million potential meth doses prevented from reaching American streets. A China-Sinaloa chemical manufacturing conspiracy dismantled at Houston port. The message from federal law enforcement is clear. American ports will not serve as entry points for chemical weapons, regardless of how sophisticated the conspiracy or how powerful the cartels behind it. This operation demonstrates that when federal agencies coordinate effectively, even the most complex international drug manufacturing conspiracies can be exposed and dismantled. But the fight continues. As cartels evolve their tactics and seek new chemical suppliers, federal agents must maintain vigilance at our ports, borders, and within our communities. The chemical weapons threat requires constant adaptation, enhanced detection capabilities, and international cooperation to effectively counter. This operation prevented millions of potential doses from reaching American communities,